Vast, silent, and breathtakingly beautiful, the great American wilderness stretches for millions of acres, a sprawling tapestry of ancient forests, soaring mountains, and untamed rivers. We are drawn to its majesty, seeking adventure, solitude, and a connection to something primal. But for hundreds each year, these idyllic landscapes become the backdrop for their final, terrifying moments. They walk into the wild, full of life and hope, and simply vanish. The numbers are staggering. National parks alone see thousands of search and rescue missions annually, but a significant number of cases remain open indefinitely. These aren't just stories of getting lost. These are tales of disappearances so bizarre, so inexplicable, that they defy logical explanation. The wilderness is beautiful, yes, but it holds secrets, it watches, and sometimes it takes. Imagine a clear day, the sun filtering through a dense canopy of pine. You feel the familiar crunch of leaves under your boots, the scent of damp earth filling your lungs. You check your map, confident in your path. This is the promise of the wild, a challenge, but a fair one. Yet, what happens when the rules suddenly change? What happens when the familiar rustle in the undergrowth isn't a deer, and the trail you were just on is no longer there? For so many, this is where the nightmare begins. They are experienced hikers, cautious adventurers, people who respected the wilderness. But respect is not always enough. They are swallowed by the green expanse, leaving behind nothing but a chilling silence and a question that haunts their loved ones forever. What happened out there? We're about to venture into that uncertainty, to follow the breadcrumbs left behind in cases that defy easy answers. We'll look at the places where the map ends and the real horror begins. Let's open the case file of Sarah Miller, a 28-year-old botanist who disappeared in the sprawling Okanogan National Forest in Washington. An experienced outdoorswoman, Sarah embarked on a solo 3-day trek in September 2022 to document rare alpine flowers. Her pack was meticulously prepared, her route was logged with a local ranger station, and she carried a satellite phone for emergencies. For the first 2 days, everything went according to plan. Her check-in calls were cheerful, describing the stunning vistas and the unique flora she was discovering. Her final confirmed location was a GPS ping from her phone at 4:17 p.m. on her second day, placing her on a well-marked trail near Liberty Bell Mountain. And then, silence. When she failed to check in that evening, a search was initiated. What they found was deeply disturbing. Her tent was discovered a full 8 miles from her last known GPS point, in a rugged, almost inaccessible ravine she had no logical reason to be in. Inside the tent, her sleeping bag was neatly rolled. Her journal lay open on top of it. The entries detailed her hike, the weather, the plants she'd seen. But the last entry, scrawled hastily, was different. The handwriting, once so neat, was jagged, panicked. It read, "Something is wrong with the trees. They're not in the right place. The sounds at night are not from any animal I know." The most chilling discovery was her satellite phone, found a half-mile away from the tent, smashed against a rock. Investigators managed to recover a final, garbled voice message, timed just an hour after her last GPS ping. The audio is distorted, filled with static, but her terror is unmistakable. It's not an animal. Something is following me. It moves between the trees. Oh God, it's so tall. Sarah Miller's case is not an anomaly. It's a terrifying echo of a pattern seen in wilderness disappearances across the globe. When you start connecting the dots, a deeply unsettling picture emerges. It's a phenomenon that researchers and amateur sleuths have dubbed high strangeness. A recurring detail is the discovery of clothing, often found miles from the victim's last known location, and it's not just discarded, it's found neatly folded, piles of clothes, stacked as if someone had deliberately undressed and placed them there. Who, in a state of panic or hypothermia, would take the time to fold their clothes? Then there's the impossibly difficult terrain. Search and rescue teams, seasoned professionals, often find victims in locations they describe as virtually unreachable. Places that would require expert climbing gear and hours of effort to access, yet the victims are found there with no such equipment, sometimes with no shoes on their feet. There are no tracks, no signs of a struggle, no indication of how they got there. They are simply there. It's as if they were plucked from one spot and placed in another. Medical examiners are frequently baffled, unable to determine a cause of death, ruling it as exposure despite the bizarre circumstances. We look for animal tracks, for human footprints, for any logical clue. But in these cases, the trail goes cold, leaving only the eerie evidence of something that operates outside our understanding of the natural world. So, how do you survive a place where the rules of nature seem to bend and break? The standard advice is sound. Tell someone your plan, carry a map and compass, pack for the worst. But what about the threats that aren't in the survival manuals? Let's reframe the guide. First, if you feel an unexplainable sense of dread, an overwhelming feeling that you are being watched, do not ignore it. Turn back immediately. Your primal instincts are your oldest and most reliable alarm system. They are sensing something your modern mind refuses to accept. Second, never follow strange sounds or mysterious lights in the woods. Curiosity is a luxury you cannot afford when you are miles from safety. No matter how intriguing it may seem, it is not for you. It is a lure. Third, if you get lost, the common wisdom is to stay put. But in these strange cases, staying put might be the worst thing you can do. The common denominator in many disappearances is that the person was stationary for a period of time. If you feel the primal dread, keep moving, but not aimlessly. Move with purpose, back the way you came, without stopping until you are back on a familiar trail or in a clearing. And finally, if you find something that shouldn't be there, a staircase in the middle of the forest, a neatly folded pile of clothes, a door that leads to nowhere, do not approach it. Do not touch it. Do not investigate. These are not part of our world. They are anomalies, glitches in the wilderness, and interacting with them might be the last thing you ever do. Science can explain animal behavior, weather patterns, and human psychology, but it cannot explain everything. And out there, in the deep, silent woods, there are some things you are better off not understanding. Because sometimes, when you stare into the wilderness, you realize something is staring back, and it has been waiting for you.